Welcome to I Have Always Wanted to Watch That, a spin-off podcast from the Average Joe's Movie Clubcast. I'm Justin. In this podcast, I get the pleasure of talking with fellow cinephiles to discuss their love of movies, along with reviewing a few films at least one of us has never seen before and has always wanted to check out for whatever reason. In this episode, I welcome back Ronan Feldman, who has apparently been bitten by the podcast bug and has been asking me for another go at it. So here we are. This time we'll be checking out Catherine Bigelow's new millennium virtual reality caper Strange Days from 1995. But first, let's chat about some movies, life, and such. So how's it going, Ronan?
Doing well. Great to be here as usual. Having a bit of a cold, but I'll get over it. Drink some tea. Haven't been seeing as much movies as of late. I think I've been on a slight TV kick as of late, and kind of marathon some new releases, but that kind of died out. So not as many movies as of late. I'll say that much.
Yeah, I've been a little slow on my intake. My wife was off most of the week, and so we were catching up on some American TV shows, just typical like reality stuff I watch with her. But yeah, Black Friday is that's today, the morning of, and look forward to it each year because usually my wife is either working or doing some shopping, so that gives me a chance to watch a bunch of flicks with the boys. So very
Yeah.
one of my cherished days of the year.
Late Happy Thanksgiving, by the way. And
Thanks.
even though we don't celebrate Thanksgiving here, there is Black Friday here, so there are a lot of discounts at stores and stuff like that.
Oh, fun! It's the pieces of American culture that get replicated out.
Yeah.
Very cool.
hmm
S- any movies up for tonight after we wrap up?
I don't know. Maybe like I kind of thought of maybe Saw X or the Creator. Like I don't think I'll get into a lot of new releases anymore this year because like
Is the creator
like
streaming yet?
hmm?
Is the creator streaming yet?
I believe so. Same for Socks. Um,
Okay.
like since I joined Letterbox 5 years ago, this is 5 years. I've been
Wow.
doing this thing in December where like I try to watch some stuff from the IMDb top 250, like along with some Christmas stuff and uh, like some of the greatest movies of all time. And I think since it's going to be fifth year anniversary, I'll try to finally watch some stuff that has been delayed for years. Probably be final time I'm doing this, but we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully it'll be a good end to 2023. Almost December, just crazy.
Some of the picks that I kind of want to watch Labyrinth with my kids. The Bowie movie with the
Good.
Muppets. That
Yeah.
I've been itching to show them that for a while. We watched The Dark Crystal years ago, and that was the first time I'd ever seen it. And although pretty standard storytelling, I mean, production on that is it's off the charts with it being all puppets and stuff. One of my
Yeah.
kids mentioned wanting to dive into the Nolan Batman movies, so I would not mind doing that at all. And usually the little one wants to watch Polar Express or something. I saw the craziest. I'm getting really sick of these memes where like the fake movies. Are you on Facebook at all?
No.
Okay, so like for instance, like I saw there was a picture of basically Tom Hanks in live action form from Polar Express, and it was called the Christmas Express, and you had all these people liking it and sharing it with each other. I'm just like, there's nothing about a Christmas Express anywhere on Tom Hanks' IMDb page. Let's pump the brakes, people. I don't think we need a live action Polar Express either, because I think the last one was as live action as we needed it to be.
Yeah. Do you prefer Labyrinth or Dark Crystal? I think I prefer Labyrinth a bit more.
I think I do recall enjoying Labyrinth more. I've only seen it the once. I think I've seen Dark Crystal twice now, but yeah, definitely a lot more going on with Labyrinth.
Yeah, Dark Crystal has a bit more of the dark edge to it. I still haven't seen that
The show.
show
Mm.
that got the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance. It was a Netflix show that like a prequel thing. Really want to though, but it sadly got canceled after one season of 10 episodes. But
Hmm.
from the trailers, I remember saying it looked great. So yeah.
We watched a little bit of the first episode. It was seemed intriguing, but my kid lost interest, and thus so did I. So tragic.
Mm, bummer. Oh, but I'll get to it one day, one day. And as far as the Nolan Batman movies go, I liked this first two. Third one, I don't know. I remember I tried to rewatch it once, and I just can't take the Bane voice seriously anymore. I just can't.
um, I was kind of an apologist for that movie at first. It has its problems, but I think overall it's a big overblown fun show. That's definitely not as good as the second one, but even the second one's not
Yeah,
really perfect.
yeah, it's decent. Just not much else. Any new releases like last ones of the year you thinking of checking out?
I'd really like to see Napoleon on the big screen, but I'll have to play my cards right to get that one done. I'm sure the little one wants to see Trolls 3. Kind of pinching our
Oh,
pennies this year, heading into the new year. Got some vacation plans for next summer. So try to lower movie costs and fun costs, but see how that pans out.
yeah. Napoleon was supposed to come out here this weekend, but seemingly got booted off because practically everything is getting shuffled due to situation here.
Hmm.
I mean, Wish and Napoleon were supposed to come out this weekend, and now Wish is coming out December 7th, for example. Do you like the first two Trolls?
Yeah, well enough. I mean, as kids'
How to
movies
say
go.
it? This one, yeah, I mean, this one is kind of like animation wise, it's really the best of the three, but story wise, they really dig heavy into the boy band stuff. I'll say
Yeah,
that much.
definitely got that from the
And
trailer.
music wise, I was not a fan, so it's the weakest of the three. Not bad, still put a smile on my face, but no, the first two were better.
All right. Well, I'm kind of anxious to get into Strange Days. A lot of interesting stuff to talk about here. So yeah, let's get into it. So it's a 1995 American sci-fi action thriller film from Catherine Bigelow. Screenplay from James Cameron, which he was very uh, invested in the creation of this film. I think he came up with the story back in the 80s. A lot big star cast here. So we got Ralph Fiennes, Angela Bassett, Juliette Lewis, Tom Sizemore, Vincent D'Onofrio. Set in L.A. in the last 2 days of 1999. The film follows Lenny Nero, a black marketer of an electronic device that allows users to experience the recorded memories and physical sensations of the people they record. Um, See, Angela Bassett plays a bodyguard and limousine driver, so she's like ends up being Fiennes' like love interest partner, and they get drawn into a criminal conspiracy, involving some murder, some bad cops, and yeah. So this ended up on the movies I've always wanted to check out. I used to be a fan of Renegade Cut. That used to be like a film review YouTube site, and this was one of the movies he got into all about. He really focused on like the police brutality aspects of it from a political
Oh
standpoint.
yeah.
So I had marked it down for a long time, wanting to check it out, and yeah, I gave you a list of a couple movies I wanted to check out, and you went to this one. Any particular reason why, or?
I own a copy of it, so that was one reason.
Okay.
Uh, I don't know. I think like I did it, like I knew the general outline, but not much besides it. So, I guess out of the list that you gave me, I thought it would maybe make for more interesting subject matter since I just didn't know much about it.
Okay.
Like yeah, like there were some other choices that I think you watched and I didn't, or maybe some foreign fix. But yeah, we ended up on this one, and solid choice, in my opinion.
Yeah, I always like it whenever both people are coming into a blind, so we can give our initial, impressions of it. So here's a little trivia on the movie. So it looks like Catherine Bigelow found no existing camera that could accomplish the POV shots that she wanted, and so James Cameron helped them develop that and get the special camera ready for production. So that took a long time to get in the works.
So they made a special camera just for the POV shots.
I believe so. Let's
Cool.
see. Cameron did extensive work editing the movie, especially the final action sequences, but he could not be credited because he was not in the editors union. Now you know.
It's interesting that he wrote this though, because he's like such known so much for directing.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's like good job.
Well, they were married at the time, so I guess he didn't. He probably was more
Oh,
willing to, give her something to work
makes
on.
makes sense. Yeah, continue with the trivia first, and then I'll start with the director.
Okay. The movie's title comes from the album "Strange Days" by The Doors, and comes cover version of the album's title track is played in the movie. This was James Cameron's first conceived story. Oh, first conceived the story in 1986, but shelved it due to his commitment to other projects. Um, yeah, and the
Most likely,
POV. Go ahead.
sorry, and most likely Aliens, Terminator,
Hmm.
maybe.
The Abyss. Yeah,
Yeah, go
all his projects are so time consuming. So you
I mean,
can
look
only
at Avatar.
imagine. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean,
That's
10
the
years between
ultimate exacerbation of that for sure.
10 years between movies. 10 years.
And you can definitely tell that Bigelow was inspired by different high level political stories at the time, the Lorena Bobbitt incident and the LA riots. And yeah, let's get into our
Yeah.
notes of this. So, any you want to
I
kick it
would.
off with the, first impressions, or you want to get more into Cameron?
Uh, I was going to say first of all that this is the second thing that I watched from her. Other thing was Zero Dark 30.
Okay, so you haven't seen The Hurt Locker yet?
No, and the same for Point Break and some of the others. I would say I prefer this one more than Zero Dark 30,
Okay,
but both of them have like a common thing
thread.
for me. But we'll get into that. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but it's interesting looking at her filmography that like a couple of them feel like more politically charged, and then
Mm-hmm.
you have something like Point Break, which, for the record, I still didn't see. But it kind of looks like a more straight action movie, sort of.
There's some nuance in there in terms of characters, but yeah, I mean, she definitely has um, an eye for good storytelling. So that's
Yeah,
definitely in Point Break rather than just being mindless action.
yeah, for sure. Uh, First impressions, or you want to do notes first?
Um, well, go ahead and throw me first impressions. You can shape the conversation.
Okay. A lot of I liked it. I would say it definitely took me a while to get interested in it, like
Mm-hmm.
until oh, also full spoiler alert for because I feel like we didn't see it earlier.
Okay.
Until the murders started to happen, which is at about the 50-minute mark, like out of 2.5 hours. That's when I say it started to pick up. It pick up for me. Up until then, didn't do a lot.
Yeah, it's kind of
Um,
getting you into the slow groove of this character and the premise.
yeah. Uh, Ray Fiennes is good as usual, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite movie with him. But
No.
he's good as usual. Yeah. Uh,
I was gonna get into the fact that at first, yeah, Bigelow's like stylistic and more vision for what she would go on to make. You can definitely kind of pick that out here, especially like the raid from Zero Dark 30 feels like all over that initial POV robbery, which is quite intense. And then what she
Oh, yeah.
gets into with like police brutality and the race riots and stuff. I mean, that all came out in Detroit. So yes, she's very politically minded, which is interesting to see her see those nuances coming out in a science fiction flick that's clearly inspired by like Blade Runner.
Yeah, a lot of it is very much shown when it comes to the two cops played by Vincent D'Onofrio and William Fichtner, I think. Uh,
Sounds right.
although something about Vincent D'Onofrio at the very end kind of reminded me of his character in Full Metal Jacket.
Oh, for sure. Especially when his face got like totally covered in blood, and he was
Yeah,
like dragging the other guy
and
by the handcuffs. It was like, oh, I know what they were going for there.
it's like, yeah, really went there. Um, like you can see some elements that it feels like the future, but it still feels very 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
like like even more so than Scream, which we talked about last time I was on the channel. Like it feels very 90s. I think most evident in the fashion.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of going for more of a futuristic look, but grounded at the same time. It's not like over nuanced in
Yeah.
terms of like with Blade Runner. It's like definitely like trying to reach for like futuristic. In terms of Ralph Fiennes, like it's really strange seeing him as a leading man. I can't think of any other instances where he is like the main guy, except for maybe like The English Patient, maybe. And he's fresh
The
off of
Kingsman?
doing Schindler's List. Say it.
Yeah. And the Kingsman. He was in the Kingsman.
Yes, he is one of the principal characters, but never like the guy, you know. So
Uh,
it's definitely kind of an
I mean,
offbeat protagonist.
yeah, I mean, from a lot of like, if you look at his filmography, like he's definitely more of like either more a secondary character or really just a lot of villains, like the Menu, Harry Potter, Red Dragon, even.
Hmm.
Uh,
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
yeah, like I feel like uh, the only one that I can think of where he's playing a lead that is like supposed to be a nice guy is kind of like um, one movie in his filmography that is kind of out of his like kind of sticks out because it's very different from his usual stuff.
Hmm.
There's a rom-com that he made in 2002 called Made in Manhattan with Jennifer Lopez, and
Oh,
he is the romantic lead in that.
okay. I didn't realize that. Not too familiar with that movie, so okay.
It's it's fairly cliche, but it's not half bad. It's better than a lot of other rom-coms.
Now,
I mean,
have you used any VR before?
nope, never tried it. I mean,
Okay,
what
we
was VR back then? Like, what, Virtual Boy? Not
Oh,
really.
that would be a real that'd be a stretch for being actual VR. But yeah, we got an Oculus a
Yeah.
few years ago, so I'm kind of familiar with the whole like VR what we have now. So it was really interesting seeing like a '90s version of that kind of included in
Yeah.
this because yeah, to I mean minus the actual feeling the same sensations. It's a really neat premise of this being like a VR experience peddler that we're following along.
Yeah, and you basically see like any memories through that. By the way, I don't have VR. I just don't have space. Uh, but like basically the idea of you seeing other people's memories through their POV, it is kind
Hmm.
of like VR. It's like just not a full set.
Yeah, just not the whole match sensation. That's especially the crazy part. Especially when which I think like at first it's like weird that it's a VR experience, but like you can see their face. But if you couldn't see their face, I
Yeah,
mean, you lose so much of like the acting and stuff those characters are bringing
very
to those
true.
performances. So yeah, I thought
Yeah,
overall that part was really neat. Um, Looking back at the Renegade Cut episode, he goes on and on about the whole military state and like flipping back through it. I definitely noticed like how the streets are like lined with like police and like riot gear and tanks and stuff. So there a lot more of it was there than what I was kind of focusing on when I was actually watching the movie.
yeah, fires,
Hmm.
the rapper Jericho pointing out a lot of stuff. The final 10 to 15 minutes, a lot of it is here a lot more than I expected, and uh, I'll give this movie credit for both being doing it right because it feels like because it's very delicate subject matter, like you have to do it just right, and I feel like it did
Hmm.
it well, and also for being very much ahead of its time because this would feels a lot more relevant today than back in '95.
Hmm. Well, because it was coming off like the LA race riots and stuff, so you were seeing a lot of that. But for this to be like the constant like reality of things, yeah, definitely a little
Yeah,
futuristic.
like and not even yeah, not even in the far future, like 4 years after the movie came out.
Hmm.
So also supposedly a very fitting New Year's movie because why not?
Hmm. Yeah, one of the rare New Year's movies. I was going to note that as well. Um, it's interesting. Crazy phone alarm. Um,
Base- Baseball. We're talking about?
that's well, it's the Fox Sports little jingle. So let me turn that down. Boop 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 boop. D'Onofrio. It's since the movie is kind of told in like flashback version, like you like flipping back through that scene where he's like crazed and chasing the one prostitute through the train station and like breaks through the subway car window and stuff. It's like you can definitely see why he's so enraged. Once you get the full context of the story, since they
Uh,
eventually get him record him executing the rapper political activist.
yeah. Well, he also an actor that feels like he plays a lot of villains.
Hmm.
He's not a villain on Full Metal Jacket, but he is like kind of becomes crazy. And there's Kingpin on Daredevil. That too.
The ability to go back to watch these experiences, they use that some really good character building moments, like whenever finds like does the experience of him and his ex-girlfriend like having that day at the beach together. That really helps build up their relationship, even though their relationship is very very icy throughout, and it's because she's like hooked up with that pimp or whatever. And there's a lot of focus around
Me,
like this nightclub and singing. And go ahead.
yeah. Sorry. Go. You wanted to finish first?
I was just getting to the fact that all this character development, although like we don't get any payoff with this relationship with them getting back together, it really amps up the frustration he feels like with her refusing to leave this pimp guy until
Yeah.
I think she
Yeah. I
eventually
was going to
dies,
say
right? I
I don't. I don't think so. I think it's unclear on what happened to her. I was going to say that I didn't care much for that character specifically, like
the pimp.
Faith. No, the Ray Fiennes ex girlfriend, Juliette Lewis's character.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Both because I would just what I just wasn't a fan of the singing. Like the music in general, obviously very subjective taste. Music in general just wasn't for me
Yeah, I
in this
wasn't a big
movie.
fan either. Didn't really stick out to
Yeah,
me. But
yeah.
apparently she did her
Uh,
own singing, which was a big deal. I don't
and in general, the character itself kind of just felt like more of a plot device, if anything.
know. Yeah, because she like links
And
the association between the girl that gets murdered and so forth. So,
yeah, and then like this pimp you said that she's with, I think he's more of a music producer who you then find out is kind of involved in this too, for various reasons.
the rape
Also,
scene in
also some.
VR. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry for cutting you off a lot. Also, some commentary there with that character, music producers and stuff like that.
The rape scene in VR is definitely like the game changer. Like, oh, we're in the groove of this, like being an actual
Yeah.
murder mystery now. Which
Yeah.
unfortunately, like, it was like right after Thanksgiving. My kids were kind of in a food coma, laying on the couch, And they started to stir and look up whenever this VR rape scene started happening. I'm like, all right, you need to
Like,
like go away or cover up
wait,
or something because you do not need to be in here for this. Because they can watch a
yeah,
lot of like slashers and stuff, blood. I don't mind, but whenever it gets into sex and stuff, you gotta distance them from that. So that was very
yeah,
bad timing.
yeah. It's like, go away, kids. This is for your dad only to watch.
Oh gosh, don't make it sound make it sound that creepy. Oh, but
Sorry, that was crazy.
tis the
Sorry,
point.
but I got your point. I get your point.
Oh man. With Fiennes getting the shit beat out of him like every other scene, like was definitely felt like
Yeah.
Blade Runner as well. Angela Bassett's the
Also a scene.
badass in this one. The Renegade Cut
Oh
guy
yeah,
had actually framed him as a damsel in distress compared to Angela Bassett.
I mean, I would say she's the best character in the movie. That's the first of all. Secondly, she literally drives a car that's on fire into a lake to flame out the fire.
Hmm.
And yeah, I don't know. She was just the best character in the movie. I will say though, one thing like at the very end when her and Ralph Fiennes kiss, that felt a bit tacked on. Like I don't know, I just didn't sense any like romantic stuff between them. I guess.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, the only like emotion they have is like this one flashback she has of him like helping her son whenever I guess police raided her
Mm.
house or something at one point.
I
Um,
do think that the best line in the movie is a monologue she gives about like helping him to move on from her, like basically like how he like plays the tapes of memories of him and Faith over and over again, like used emotions. Was it
mhm.
part of that line? That was like that was really well done. Felt very real, that part. My
Yeah,
favorite line, my favorite part for sure.
I remember that monologue. Yeah, that was a good part for sure. Let's see. Those cops are completely out of control. Yeah, shooting the hell out of that car and setting it on fire. But that made for a pretty cool set piece and them escaping underwater, which always you kind of like, what would I do in that situation?
I mean, if you're strong enough, you can maybe break something if you're strong and smart enough. If not, mm,
I think after a
I
few
mean,
minutes the
also it
car
depends on
like equalizes and you can actually open the door, but I don't really want to jump in a body of water in a
it's
vehicle
logistics.
to try out.
Yeah, yeah, not go into logistics of that.
I thought the movie's ability to like flash back, like kind of whenever it needed to, was really good at creating this sense of momentum throughout. Because I mean, there is so many of these like scenes where they're like character exposition dumps, but overall, I thought it was pretty
Mm.
well paced. Even though I wouldn't really say this like futuristic romance mystery is like necessarily like my kind of story, but I thought it was put together pretty well.
Mm. I don't know. In general, calling it like neo noir sci-fi kind of feels like not exactly right because like yeah, you have an element of sci-fi here, but it's fairly minimal besides that one device.
Hmm.
And the actual mystery itself doesn't really kick up until like nearly halfway through.
Hmm.
So I think more accurately would be to call it thriller with some social commentary. I think. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Getting locked into that memory state. I guess some of the guys ended up, I guess, over watching and they got caught in that. So that was added a little bit of stakes to it, even though it wasn't really explored.
Yeah. Like, was it supposed to be like an overdose or something? What, like an
Probably.
example?
Yeah, like
Uh.
going to a coma state.
Yeah.
Um,
What what was Lenny busted for? Because like they say he's a cop, and then like essentially he's fired, and now he's just like dealing in black market selling these clips things. So it's like, what
mhm.
was he busted for? I don't know if I picked up on it or the movie never told. No,
I'm not sure.
never.
I didn't catch that. Um,
And also,
I was going to start to get into how one of the more chilling moments is when Angela Bassett's character is like going to hand off the tape to like the police commissioner or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, it'll be fine," but instantly she's viewed as like causing a disturbance or. And then later on, whenever she goes and kicks the shit out of the two bad cops, and then they start
Yeah,
like going after her, but then everyone rallies around and helps her. So it was really kind of neat. It's unique to see a protagonist put in this light to where all of a sudden they're seen as the bad guy and have to rise up. So that was kind of a unique twist for a movie like this.
yeah, very much felt like something that would happen today, or like again, commentary on police brutality and stuff like that. Very much. Um, let's get into into who the killer ends up being because
That was my next point. Perfect. I hated
okay,
that.
so
I hated that.
oh, you needed really.
I could not stand the best friend being the secret rapist person. That was terrible. I can't. Go ahead.
uh, I kind of liked it, but then I think for a minute I got lost on why he did it.
I'm not sure if there was a why other than like he just liked the thrill of it. Like, gosh, I just can't stand it. Like, I can understand from like a mystery writing perspective. You gotta point it to the person you've been with all along and you've actually gotten to know instead of like a random guy. But at the same time, it's just like, ugh. It's like I don't know. It just felt so lazy. Like, oh, he can be the killer. Let's go.
I mean, if there's anything I learned from watching enough murder mysteries, which, by the way, if you want a good one from this year, go with A Haunting in Venice, the Kenneth Branagh Poirot one, the third one. Best
Okay.
of the three, for sure.
Oh, cool.
Although it kind of fits more Halloweeny stuff because it's more creepy. Anyway, if there's one thing that I learned from that, it's like it's always the one you suspect the least.
Yep.
So I should have seen that coming. I liked it at first, but did kind of get lost on why. And
Hmm.
then when he and Ray Fiennes fight, and the hair comes
Yeah.
out,
Then
like they're
you finally see where that terrible hair came into play with him, like recording all of it.
yeah, and it's like he's not the first person to do that. So it's like, um, I will say though, how he falls to his demise is pretty badass.
The old Hans Gruber style.
Like Ray Fiennes getting stabbed by the guy. Then when he hangs to his death, pulls out the knife that he got stabbed with, cuts his tie, and
Yeah.
and the guy falls to his demise. So
Yeah.
that
Talk
was
about
pretty
getting
badass.
stabbed in the back.
Literally.
Yep.
Uh, yeah.
Um. Yeah, and I think you noted all of my other points. With the badass moment with D'Onofrio at the ending, seeming like Full Metal Jacket, and hey, this is a New Year's Eve movie. Little make out scene to cap it off. So yeah, Strange Days, well constructed futuristic mystery, solid cast, but yeah, not really sold on the leads. Cool how they included commentary and this like raw looking future, but overall, just not really the kind of story that I would be returning to. While it's unique and well made.
Yeah, like most mysteries, it's good only on a first time watch, really. Um, Angela Bassett was more interesting than Ray Fiennes, and like I liked it overall, but I think it took itself like way too long to really get interesting. Like it only got interesting to me near the halfway mark.
Okay,
So,
I could see that. It
but
is a little stretched
otherwise,
out.
solid, yeah. Otherwise, solid movie. Good movie. Very good on subjects that I feel in lesser hands would have been not handled as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll give it that. It's good. Not my favorite, but it's pretty good. 3.5 out of 5 for me.
Uh, did I rate this yet? I think I'd probably go in probably the 4 range since it's for what it is. Definitely didn't love it, but definitely respect the craft and Angela Bassett and her big strong arms she brought the gun show to the movie. So Cool. Any other topics you want to get into?
I mean, how much time do you have?
Well, it's got a busy day ahead, but I'm glad we got this into a podcast. So please
Yeah.
follow the Average
Oh,
Joe's Movie Club cast on YouTube,
wait.
and look for my reviews on Letterboxd. Yeah, what's up, Ron?
Final quick thing. Favorite Rafe Fiennes performance, if you have one.
Oh my. Let's look up his filmography. Boop 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 boop. He's such a
He
kind of
has a long
a.
one.
What were you saying?
He has a long one.
Yeah, let's look over this guy's filmography a little bit. Uh, Definitely knocks it out of the park as Lord Voldemort.
Voldemort, yeah.
It's pretty menacing in Schindler's List. Forgot he was in Grand. Oh, I guess I got to go with Grand Budapest. Him being the main character in that is very clever.
Uh, he's pretty creepy in Red Dragon, I would say.
I do recall that somewhat. It's been a long time since I've seen that one.
And Voldemort, obviously, in Schindler's List. I think my favorite is maybe The Menu, though. Like in The Menu, he was legitimately terrifying, in my opinion.
Okay, I haven't seen that. But I need
Get
to.
to
Solomon Quiz Show. Wasn't really thrilled with that movie. That was not as good as I thought it was going to be. Um, Has a voice in Kubo. Neat. Has a voice in Walton Gromit. Oh, and Prince of Egypt. A lot of good voice work. He was in The English Patient and The Constant Gardener. Two of the most thrilling movies of all time. The
for
Constant
sure,
Gardener.
with the way you said it, sure.
Alrighty, cool. Well, we will, as always, keep our movie talk in the. I wasn't say the X world, but that sounds very strange. We use Twitter Instant Message to communicate pretty often about movies, so we'll keep it going there. And if people wanted to follow you, how would they do so, Ronan?
On Letterboxd, Ronens13, RONENS13.
Cool. Have a great day, everyone, and keep watching movies.
Bye bye.